I'm late. I'm late. Sorry, guys, I'm a little late. Hey, welcome, as you can tell. So, the Wicked Lady Hippy at the bar. I'm afraid this fell off twice. I put the headband down to hold the blooming thing in place. It's only me, so one side doesn't seem to be working. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, how about now? Nope. See, equipment has gone off. My husband's down here. Hello. Hi, hi. Okay. Now, welcome in to see the Lady Hippy. And of course, we start out like this. I'm the Lady Hippy, and I'm also the Wicked Lady Hippy, my Army nickname. Army veteran, published journalist, author. Yeah, I'm retired now. Loving this. Said no woman ever. But my husband was kind to me. I had to quit smoking 4 or 5 years ago. And he started letting me have a friend of mine was here. This is my bar. We're at home. So we redesigned the whole bottom floor. You have to forgive me. There's always mess behind me because another room is being renovated and the excess ends up in this room. So forgive me. It's probably not as good as it ought to be. I try to take up as much of the screen as I can. Don't say it. Here we go. We go with live chat today. I like these little cigarillos. And I used to smoke them when I was stationed in Europe because I sold my cigarettes. They love Marlboros over there. Jack Daniels, Marlboros, and ice cream. So that was generally how I paid my rent. So it was a different time. What can I say? Uh, this is bugging me. My husband, the cutest, I don't think you can see him, drop down earrings, sapphire and diamond, and they're little butterflies. And so I try to match everything. Uh, People give me a lot of grief. It's kind of cute. I went out today, of course. I generally do on these days. For some reason, I need to run around and come back breathless. So if you see me, feel free to hit anything in there. They like it when we do that. It doesn't seem to happen much. So in any event, like I say, he lets me have my little cigarillos, and that's saying little twice. So cigarillo, and it's you'll be talking, and of course that's what I do up here. And so it goes out. So it lasts 2 or 3 days. So he'll get me a pack, and there's 5 of them, and put them in the humidor, and I can have those when I'm on. Well, today, as he picked up a couple for me to put in there at the beginning of the week. See, even I'm aware it's a freaking Monday, so I'm not sure if I'm strong enough. It seems to be a little bit down in one ear, and let's see if we can. And then I get the echo effect, like I'm just, in a big cavern and screaming to you guys on the other side of the Rio Grande. As you can tell, not a professional. Started this 3 years ago. Ended up taking a year off in between, had a terrible accident, and no need to go back into that. I'm actually walking now, so I'm happy with that. See, I just wanted to say, Hippies Unite. Man, this is the best thing since AC. Of course, it's a bar. I do love my whiskey on the rocks. I did find, even though I was adopted, I did my DNA and I did some searching, found the family in Scotland, and I'm of the Macintosh clan, but today I'm not in a tartan. Well, my kilt is kind of retired at this moment, poor thing. But I love having my whiskey on ice. I'll explain that too, real quick. My husband, I love the little airplane bottles. Oops, there it goes. I swear I had a drink. So he gives me these, and I pour them in a little bit of juice or whatever it is I'm drinking that day. And I like to try to coordinate things. Today I've been all in blue and dark blue and stuff like that. Mm, isn't that cute? It's about the same inch as the dress. I only do that because I don't have enough. I don't get enough chances to use my stemware, and I use it when I'm up here. Um, and of course, I have gorgeous china and silver and tons of stuff, but people are scared to use them. They prefer the little red cups. So we have those here too at the bar. We even have the little ones for shots, and we must have 100 shot glasses because we gathered them from around the world. Literally Germany or whatever. And so we have a lot of lovely ones. People don't want to. They don't want to hurt them either. So It sounds like my bar is in the middle of a war zone, but like MASH or something. I went out today, like I said, go out, get things done because it's the beginning of the week. My husband's out because last night, well, yesterday, my dishwasher failed for the fourth time, and my husband is out getting the replacement because it's just, they don't build them the last 2 years. We've been here almost 15 years. So this is the fourth one. So I reckon they almost make it to 5 years. Crush. So, my kitchen is black and silver, and I like that combination. So my husband's always looking to make sure he's here, honey, you like this one kind of thing. They do sell them everywhere, though. It's amazing. It's amazingly expensive if you buy a new one that's going to crash in 2.5 years, too. So we generally will go, my husband will go looking around at different ones that are for sale. And he found one, and I gave permission, and let's hope everything's right. He worked on it, the older one, last night for 4 hours. And finally, I heard him downstairs, and I was like, what's he doing? And I come down, and he's wrestling the dishwasher onto a dolly to take out to the curb. And I'm like, you spent 4 hours on this? Now you're gonna, I'd have kicked that son. It would have been like 30 seconds and out the damn door. He said, well, I found cat hair in the drain. It's like, honey, we got cats. It's gonna happen. He didn't like that answer. Like I said, he's out getting us a new one. So again, forgive, we got boxes and things around, so please forgive me. I know you don't probably want to look at old either, but it's like, what's for dinner? I'm a little late today. I tried to get on between 12 and 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't usually make it. The reason I brought up my little cigars, my husband actually found a pack of cigarettes, Marlboro menthol. Now, I used to always have menthol. So it was indeed hard to get me to quit. He must have bought me 5 or 6 vapors, all with the nicotine, but it had to have the menthol taster. I was like, I don't want this. This is like sucking my thumb. So, yeah. And so he's, like I said, bought me 3 or 4 or 5, however many, and it's been about 5 years. But he's found this, and he said to me, he came in and he bought breakfast out, so I didn't have to cook because I, like I said, been running around. So he said, do you want these? I was like, you little. He done gave me the food, I done ate everything, and then he goes, well, did you want these or should I get rid of them? So now I'm actually, these don't go out. That's the thing with cigarettes. So you buy a lot more, but you smoke a lot more. And it's the first time I've been able to enjoy a cigarette at my bar since we put it here 3 years ago. This is a big bar. We renovated the entire bottom floor to accommodate this bar. It's a Remington, and it came out of a $7 million home. We looked it up. It's several $1,000s to buy this bar. Now, we didn't spend several thousands. We spent a nice penny on it. I think it was more than worth it. It surrounds what used to be basically most of the dining room, and we've cut off one door that leads into the kitchen with some of the bar. Then I bought new bar stools to go around the front because there just was 2 captain chairs. And when I sat in it, I was below the bar, and I was like, "Hey, that's I need another one." Thought I'd just get up, go around. It's just wicked to have your own bar, guys. I'm telling you. This, like I said, I don't usually show videos unless I'm prompted to, because everybody's seen them 100 million times. And if you haven't, why would you ask me to put it up there? It's kind of weird. And I feel like it's plagiarism from the person or whoever did load it up there. So the people knew. But I love this medium. It reminds me of the 70s. Just like the 70s show, we used to sit around in my friend's basement, a house over. Parents knew we were all there. They kept popsicles and shit in the same fridge. It looked just like it. It was paneled. That was their basement. That was my best friend's. And like I said, they were one house over. So that was the party house. Loved them parents. She had the greatest parents. And I miss her. She's in Chicago, where I grew up. And we communicate, but not like we'd like to. I haven't seen her in about 15 years now. And she keeps saying she'll get on a flight. She won't. She's never flown. We're not spring chickens. I'm just saying. Hippies ought to be like an idea of what you're talking to. Um, we were the hippies that had to just say, okay, the man's won. We got to go to work and college and work and work some more, get another job so I can pay to get to work. I'm having one of those bad hair days. See, I can't keep anything up with this thing. And over here in Augusta, Georgia, oh, yeah, I'm just having one of them days, folks. We're in Augusta, Georgia. So if you see me and you'd like to visit, to do a Zoom call, please feel free, live chat, comment. It don't make a damn to me. I get up here because I think, like I said, it's the best thing since AC. And I keep hoping that I lost a lot of people in the middle. This is my second channel. And my first channel was great, but after I was severely injured, I took a year off. I didn't even do Facebook. I was extremely wounded. And at my age, that just took forever to heal. And the surgeries, and I've had eye surgery. It's been one of those banner years all in one. So I was kind of in some ways glad because it was all at one time. Bam, bam, bam. But I couldn't even stand up for more than a few seconds. I learned then that crutches are great, but you have to have enough strength in your one leg in order to sit down or stand up with them. You can do that. If you try walking, you're going to be going out. I was. My poor husband was always catching me. Sit back down in the wheelchair. Yeah, give me the crutches. I hated being in a wheelchair. I hated it for a year. And then I had to go through physical training, to get everything to work again. And that was fun. I tease. I really liked my trainer. He was great. He thought I was so funny. Every time I used to bring brownies and cupcakes and things. I just like to do that, and it's just my husband and I. And I've always liked to bake, so there's always leftovers. So I usually give to the children in the neighborhood and so forth. But when I was up there, I had like 6 or 8 months of, you know, running in there and going, "No, I don't want to get on that thing." You had to train with certain things, and you had to train at home. So finally, I was able to walk again. Even that was so nice. And by the way, folks, if you do get in something like that, I found that they have these disabled places you can park, but you really can't get in unless it's an automatic door. And even if it opens from the inside, my leg was straight out, and I couldn't even go anywhere. Unless I had pain medication. So I'd get through the surgery and have pain medication. And I could run to Kroger, which was a mile and a half from the house. And my husband would run me over. So I'd get out and then go by McDonald's, which was right there in the parking lot, to get an ice cream cone. He was really good about getting me out if I could get out. I mopped the floors and swept and stuff as long as I had pain pills from the wheelchair because I couldn't get up. And you didn't want to put any weight on that particular leg anyway. There were days my eyebrows hurt. Reminded me of basic training. We were the first women to sign up to do regular Army. We had signed up, we had enlisted as WACs, the Women's Auxiliary Corps, which back in that day did not go through regular boot camp. They went through a few weeks of training. I don't know if they've got to hold a weapon. I don't think so. But that changed. By the time we landed, we were not in Alabama. We were in South Carolina at Fort Jackson, and they told us that we were now regular, no sachet, no lipstick. I had already cut all my hair anyway, just so I didn't mess with it because it was like down to my waist. So I, almost got a boy haircut. Pretty much did. It was called a pixie back then, but there wasn't a half inch of hair. I don't want to mess with it. Just whatever you could do to get through that 8 weeks or whatever you'd be smart to do. ROTC and all that I thought I was prepared. No, I was prepared for WAC training. I'd aced that. I ended up acing the other one, but oh my God, at the work. And then I went in with actual rank, and I was from Chicago, from Cook County, and my company commander liked to mess with folks, and he was sitting there, and he was like, "Bullock, you're from where? Cook County, Chicago?" We had to do the paperwork. We didn't have a tablet or a phone, so he has to look this up. And I don't know why he singled me out, except I kept giggling. I've been up for 4 days. I was past stupid. We're carrying 150 pounds. I didn't weigh but 88 pounds, for God's sake. I was only 17. I was turning 18 in boot camp. Parents signed for me and everything. So it was something. When they told us that they wouldn't charge us or anything to go ahead and go home because we had not enlisted to go through the military. My husband's probably on the other end of this line because he knows I was on. Yeah. Hello, darling. You're on speaker and I'm on live.
Okay, well, you might want to get something out for dinner. I just happened to think about it.
Oh, I'm on live, so I'm stuck.
Okay, well, I guess I
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Bye. Bless him, he's tired today. And I'm with him. I didn't even think of it. I went and got groceries, but I already froze everything. I don't think about it. I don't know why, but since we've grown older, both of us will go, what are we doing for dinner? Or what are we, did anybody have any ideas? Did we eat today? That's what we do. So I haven't seen too many up here today. I sure was hoping to see y'all. If you do see me once again, try to pay attention, try to share it, try to watch. It might be difficult. It is for entertainment purposes only. There's certain things I should talk about that I probably won't talk about because they all got the thought police everywhere. But in any event, returning to my CO, he said, and I was giggling because he said, I jumped out of helicopters and killed people. That's not funny. And I laughed harder. So I'm 5'2". I don't weigh 100 pounds. I ain't even 18. And this man literally served in Vietnam, 82nd Airborne. And at that point, I didn't even know what 82nd Airborne was because most of my relatives were either Air Force or Navy that had talked to me. And I had gone Army. My dad was mad because he was Navy World War II, adopted father. So, yeah, right then and there. And I had chevrons. Everybody else is a trainee. They weren't even a private. If you have one chevron, they can address you as private, so forth, so on. Address you as the rank you are. So I had rank. And in the Army, shit rose uphill. So when they fucked up, they came looking for me. And on top of that, that day, he says, from now on, you answer to Wicked. All right, Bullock, you got that? What do you answer to? Wicked, drill sergeant. And he said, when I need you, you're going to be in the office because I don't have anybody to do the work in the office. Okay, sir. So I have to actually be the leader of this entire squad that we don't know what we're doing. They had told us to bring white tennis shoes, white shorts, white t-shirts, and they had us bring stuff to wear. They gave us uniforms to wear. We had boots, fatigues. It looked like we were a MASH unit. It was the old OD green, like MASH. And we were like, okay. And then they came along and they took all your stuff and put it in storage somewhere. You didn't ask for it, you didn't need it until you had a pass. And then you could decide either wear your what we called Class A, which was a uniform that had a skirt, nice, brazier look, or did you want to get into civilian clothes? Well, I didn't want all the problems going on up there, so I just went in my Class A uniform. Most of us did. You could not leave post in fatigues like they do now. My grandson, I hounded through ROTC and made him go active duty. He ended up in Korea. He got back here just in time for the pandemic to close the borders of flights. And he had done his year and a half or so in Korea. He did not reenlist. I had no idea they were taking him that, I did not know that. And so here I had pushed him and I felt kind of guilty, but he was like me. He missed it afterwards. Most of it, not all of it. It's not an easy thing, but I think all 18 to 21-year-olds should serve voluntarily. It's a growing experience. You get to go around the world, see everything. You might be just like me in Europe or like my grandson in the East in Korea, but there's plenty to do. See temples, all of that stuff. And so I ran around to castles and it was a good time. The back then you had a passport everywhere. So, and I had, of course, the Army ID, and I used my Army ID most of the time, but I did have a passport. My son had a passport when he was 6 weeks old. He was born in Heidelberg, Germany. I had my kid. I got out of the hospital, handed me a gun, and said, "You're on duty at 3." Okay. Anybody want his kid for him? They don't do that now either. They actually let you off. When I was in, that was not an excuse, as they said, to be off duty. if you had leave, you're good to go for the delivery. But after that, you're on your own because you got to be there. So it was a special time, and I'm glad I kicked that door down. I don't think we're recognized for that. It's a pity, really, all these years later. And I've seen women fighter pilots take those babies back to the carrier like this and then set it down. I mean, respect, girls, respect. That you didn't have women firemen, you didn't have women policemen, you didn't have women military, unless they were the separate part, like the whack the wave. But they weren't in the core of the military. They were back in, bring the wounded and stuff too. So, or even back further, most cases. They didn't like to, especially after Vietnam, women shouldn't have been at the front unless they've been trained, and they had not. So nurses and things, women like that died, and that's not spoken about either. But we will go on with other stuff. There's a lot not being spoken about. My husband found that packet. I'm enjoying one of the first menthols I've had in 6 years. With a little whiskey cinnamon. I call it a fireball, but it's a big blast of cinnamon. It's awesome. I have no idea what I'd make for dinner. I'm thinking maybe, just have a pizza. I sent him to get cat litter. I got their venison today. We run a kind of shelter. People have even given us their pets to hold on to while they're on vacation, whatever. So we do all that. And there's a special room so that they're not with the rest of the kitty population, unfortunately, because we don't want anything to happen. And so all the ones that I have that are mine, there's plenty, because we've rescued many and bottle fed them. And once you bottle feed them, you really can't set them outside. It's a cruelty. They don't understand what to do, and they get killed. And so we have generally kept them warm. We've also lost quite a few, which is difficult. Didn't lose them right away, but we did lose them. So we'll see them when we see our dogs. We used to have chows, and we had one chow husky. And he used to say hello. He was the husky part of it, would talk. So we miss him so much we can't have another one. And we've lost about 8 cats, I think, over the past 4 or 5 years. And so it's just difficult, as everybody knows. So anyway, the medicines come in, and I have to pound it all up. And I buy cans of tuna for them because if they put it in the regular, they won't eat it. They just won't eat the food. And it's in a pill form, a little white one you can smash, put it in their food, because otherwise they're not going to take the pill. I can't see picking up cats and trying to shove shit down their throat and coming back with a hand that's not mangled. They get fierce about that shit. So this is for the medicine they have to have. It also takes the fleas if there are any. And I can't understand it, but somehow they come in from outside is what people have told me that want to actually do the yard. And my husband went out in white socks and had me go out there. And we had just done the lawn. And sure enough, you could see them on his socks. So we had to spray him down before he could come back. We had to leave it right there. So if we went out, we had to spray down because we were taking care of them. They're here, they stay in our yard. And I feed them twice a day, make sure they have water. There's areas for them that they can lay down. They're safe. They're not going to get wet. We got a big RV. So I love that because it's up on the ground and it's all sheltered and doesn't get as hot, bless them. I just have so many that we take care of. I don't know what will happen because we've also been told my son is going to be buying 10 acres and they want us on the other end of the 10 acres. My husband says, well, probably we'll do that. We're retired. Okay. My husband will be 71 just after my birthday, 3 days later. Now, my age is a state secret. So I don't think anybody out there has a need to know, but give a look on the guessing. Be kind. You will someday be right where I am, ladies. It's kind of cute when I go out and I do things. And once I decided to get a pack of cigars because I was out and I was running low. And generally, I won't buy them for myself. I have my husband get them. In any event, I was right there at the one he gets. I went in, and they said they needed to see my ID. And I was like, really? I was a waitress at the Last Supper. Here's your... And they're looking at me like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, really. Then they start looking at you like... I get a kick out of people that respond to things like that. Ah, it's brutal here. We've had like this drought thing going on. And then we got a bunch of rain, but it won't say because the ground's so hard. We've had forest fires, which I have never heard of, that was on the Florida Georgia borderline. I had never heard of that section ever being on fire. And I've been here like 30 plus years and, well, easily 30, we'll say. Never seen that before. I've been screaming at all of it. There's more tornadoes. I've seen and including Hurricane Elena, who came, two tornadoes came straight through our property and somehow slapped down trees left and right. It was a forest and L around us and never hit anything, not the neighbors, not us. It hit my hothouse. That was the only thing. And my husband was out there rescuing my plants, but I was already uh, waiting for surgery that day. And the city closed for 2 weeks on that one. That was fun. It took 4 or 5 months to get all the debris out that they were coming by and picking up. My husband was down helping people clear because they were being charged $3,000 to $6,000 to clear trees that were already down. You just had to cut them up and get them to the streets, you know. And again, he's still a young chicken, but he was doing it to help our neighbors and so forth and so on. So that was a banner year. And 2 years before that, the tornado slammed through, and we had glass tables in the back. We had two glass tables and end table on the front porch and the lanai. None of the tornadoes have hit any of those, and we're so grateful. We also have two storage buildings. One's like a little red bar with the barn rather with the white. It's really cute. It's big, so we have a lot out there because we took a lot of stuff out when we redesigned it to make it one flowing area because of the bar. So I've been meaning to get rid of those things, but I just haven't done it because I was so injured. And I'm shocked that Robert hasn't, but fishing and that stuff. When he has a minute, I can't blame him. And so we're doing all of this at the same time. And now, like I said, I can move around and hopefully I've been through 2 earthquakes here. I think the largest was like a 3.9, but it sounded like you had a beast growling at you right at your shoulders, what have you. I mean, you were surrounded by this deep growl. And I had heard that once before when I was stationed in Vicenza, Italy. And they had an earthquake. And there's the old buildings in Vicenza. And they had a severe earthquake. And I was out there. I was Army at the time. I had my kid. And when it struck, I had 3 or 4 people. We were in a laundromat doing our clothes. I lost all of my uniforms because they were in there. And I grabbed the kid and I pushed the women and got them to the exit. That place went down like a second. It was like a movie. The second we stepped outside and we're looking and the streets are, doing that wave. And you are too, mind you. And there's masonry falling. There's, collapsing windows. People are screaming. Cars are going everywhere because there were little cars going out there. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced. And I've been airlifted because of floods. I mean, even that. And I fear heights. So those times I had to just shut my eyes and think of something nice, which did not work at all. I still screamed the entire way. Luckily, I wasn't still active duty at the time. So I want the hippies to come back. I want us all to get together and say, this really sucks. We've had Bernie's weekend, for 4 years, and everybody knew. And and they also knew that Donnie, I call him Donnie, I like him. President Trump, they did steal the election in 2020. I said that anyway. Georgia, the one he called, and Kemp made all this mess with it. They were the ones that threw away millions of ballots. They found out now that they had 300,000 dead people vote in Georgia. It was rigged from the beginning. That entire one was rigged, but especially Georgia, because you couldn't drive around without seeing just millions of ballots and boxes and so forth that had been dumped off bridges and so forth. I was looking at my husband going, people still go vote. We have the Electoral College. I don't see any reason to vote because it's just as Donnie said. The president said, I won the Electoral College vote, but I also won the people's vote, which was after he was elected. And so I found that interesting. The other thing I found interesting, and again, once again, hippies unite, don't do this. Uh, when I was coming up, I don't know if it was a parallel universe or not, but yeah, when we were supposed to vote, you had the little boats and you had the curtain. You didn't go in with a T-shirt and some bumper stickers and a hat, and who knew that shit? It was supposed to be a secret ballot. Now it's neon lights on your front porch, and you wonder why people are kicking your shit down. So I have a flag. I've always had a flag. I'm a veteran. Um, Even my family, well, my dad was World War II Navy. It was actually at Pearl Harbor. He and his brother were on shore leave. They couldn't get to their people. That really that really rocked them. I think they suffered from that their whole lives. They both died fairly early in their 60s. They never talked about it, but the family knew a little bit about what had happened. But it wasn't talked about. No. I talk about mine, but it was a totally different thing. And it's fun to be actually, trained by people that have been in war because you come out of that if you actually can do it. And not one of us went back. We said, "Oh, bring it." What do you got? And we made it. We didn't lose one of us. I told them they could bend, but they couldn't break. And I was dead damn serious. I had been in karate classes since I was 9. I had fencing. I had tennis. My husband said I went to a resort. I took him to my high school. And the man says, "You've got to be kidding me. How many buildings?" He said, "Well, our colleges aren't this big." He's right. They're not. It's Georgia. Even if they are that big, they're not worth going to. They're not worth paying for. If you can get a scholarship, it might be okay. But no, after what I've been through and all the time and all the education I had to force in the middle and my kids cooking because I'm not home, they don't allow that now. I would never make it through the 80s, but bad timing. So I know there are other people out there that are like me, that we all went through change after change after change after change. There was never a dull moment. There was never a moment where we said, this will last for a year at least. No, you'd be back in college and switching equipment again. I started out on a manual typewriter and a mimeograph. And those of you who don't know what a mimeograph is, it's this big drum that has white ink, and you have this blue stylus on a piece of cardboard paper, whatever, and you type it in there, and they set it on the drum just like a newspaper, and you do the handle, and it'll send out so many sheets. That's fun to make 1,600 sheets on. That's what we started with. Manual typer, we had to work with 60 minutes with no errands, and there were nothing on the keys. They were blank because you needed to know what you were doing. They didn't want you had to know that board. And if you knew the board, you didn't need the numbers. And they were right. I taught a little bit or tried to help out, but then I was sent on urgent training because they needed somebody who was a nurse and secretary. And even though I was very young, I still had quite a bit of rank and was trained to do both. And so I took over an entire division in Texas at Fort Sam Houston, which was great. I loved it. We had electric typewriters that were correctable. I was like over the moon. I just tell my phone to send it over here and print it. I don't know. It's like it's like here's George Jetson has come alive. And then I think about iRobot. Oh shit. I don't want to think about that. And then they're going, AI does this, AI does that. I said, okay. Mine was going AI for Google at my search engine. And I don't search much on Google. I pretty much know all of it now. I've been in the same place for a while, but things change. I'm Googling this shit. There's so much stuff going on the planet you can't think. Volcanoes are going up, earthquakes. Like I said, I've been through so many of them now. I've been through 4, 5 earthquakes. Tornadoes have literally gone through my property 4 times now. And of course, the earthquakes, the tornadoes, the hurricane, and tornadoes. And somehow God was there. There's no other way to explain it. And I used to be a chaser, but my daddy had started all that to take us girls around to see the damage. after tornadoes. But we were in Tornado Alley. And now the South has become Tornado Alley. I've been saying that for 30 years. And now they're finally saying it. That the line has moved a little bit. I'm like, the line hasn't moved. It's expanded. But the line didn't move because, Oklahoma's still going to get the shit kicked out of them. That really is, Tornado Alley. But I've seen pine straw stuck through trees. I saw a rooster stuck in a bottle of knee high, little neck out and head out, and they're having to break it and trying not to hurt it to get it out. Things like that. It's some wild stuff that would happen when a tornado hit. So at a very young age, I was adopted at 9, but I was there, I think 3 years before adoption. So this was as soon as we met. He was I think he was really a chaser, but he also was a moonshine driver. So World War II moonshine. He was a little bit of everything. Dad was. He was a great guy. And like I said, he would take us, and we would try to help. All of us did. We brought sandwiches and lemonade, and all kinds of stuff. Back then, it was not easy to transport all that stuff. You had boxes of stuff, and you trying to keep the lemonade cold, and that was not an easy thing. And they didn't really have um, what they have today. You could just anywhere you can pick up plastic cups and stuff. That pretty much was not what we did. My mother just ordered more Tupperware, and we just went with that, with a bucket to wash them if we needed to. So I mean, but you went to help. You didn't just go to observe. Although he would tell us questions as we are going through. Well, how big do you think it was? How fast do you think it was? Because he was fascinated, and so was I at that time, and still am. As I got grown up myself, I was at Fort Sam Houston at the time with a friend of mine, and we were trying. That's him, and he's got an air conditioner he's going to want to put in. I told him I was trying to get my podcast in the middle, and now I forget where I was. What you doing now? Oh, you got something? Oh, good. That's mine. Would you quit opening? He opens my mail. It's never Christmas for me. He's always opening stuff. Thank you. I go ahead and I do stuff with a company. I rate their stuff, and then in particular, they generally send me things to wear or something, whatever it is, to rate it. Um,
I got stuff I got to bring in the dishwasher.
we'll go right ahead. I told everybody that's what she was doing. I'll see if I can't wrap up in a second. Sorry, guys. It really is going to be fast today. Um, you can leave comments. Oh my, you can just leave it in the comments, and I'll be here. I'll go back through it. I'm looking for something, of course, and it's not here now. I don't know where it went. Oh my goodness. So you know how a hippie lives now. This is what happens when retirement hits. You have to buy a lot of apparently air conditioning units and dishwashers. We're on our fourth, and we don't know if we'll be here that much longer. But it broke yesterday, and he's already got me a new one. So I only had to do a little bit of dishes, so that's all right with me. It's like okay. My fancy is behind me at the moment, behind the bar. He's also a rescue. He ran in the house, and we didn't have the heart to put him back out. He was a teenager about by then, so we just had him treated and neutered, so forth. And we only take care of the boys. There's usually more girls than boys, but he's still more wired like he's an alley cat than he is a domestic cat. So when like this stuff is coming, he just came to mommy and climbed under the bar where we put lemons and things, and he's climbed under the bar to wait for everything to pass because mommy will protect me. Pretty soon, I'll see several of them up here. They're watching every move my husband makes. It's nice. It's kind of nice. They all have their own attitudes and stuff. So, but we spend a lot of money to keep them okay, like medicine and so forth. It's not inexpensive. I'll put it that way. And we don't really get. I was hoping as many as we've had neuter over the years, why they wouldn't give us a break. And of course, they closed, and we had to, we had to go to a different one instead. Mm. Have some of my little cigar before my husband tells me no. I'm looking at what I won here. I want a little bit. It looks like a little dresser. It's really in miniature with the little mirror. My husband put together. I was like, I'd rather have had underwear, but I rate whatever they send because it's free. I've been with that organization about 15 years, and I've been doing this for about 2 years, I think. After my accident, it was difficult to put on pants, and I had to do that when I was training, physical training. You had to have pants on. Twice I went in the skirt. He was very upset. I feel for him. I really do because all I could do was giggle at him. Whatever machine he put me on, it was quick. They all kept saying I was funny. Plus, I brought stuff for everybody to eat, and I'm hoping he doesn't need me. It's very difficult to get that through, but he's awfully good at these things. He's the dude. My goodness, honey, why didn't you use the dolly? Good grief, I thought for sure he'd use the dolly. He carried it in. I think you saw him. See, the kitchen is right next to our bar. The way he designed it, it works out great. So I can actually watch him because this is a doorway, but it's like a half doorway. I think Mr. Ed, the horse that talked. Okay, that really shows you're a hippie. You can't go with too much. If somebody mentions Brady Bunch, I'm going to cry. I like the monkeys and the partridges. So whatever they were wearing, I had to go get the same thing. You could not do that when I was growing up. You didn't have malls. You had Sears and you had J.C. Penney's and you had Montgomery Ward, but you only had catalogs because their stores were in downtown Chicago. Now I could get on the L and I could do that. My mother, however, would not do that. I think she got to the point where she just never left the house. I mean, we had to go get her cigarettes here. She just didn't go out. But you still can't do it. So you get the catalog and you're looking. They don't have it. So you look at the other catalog. But those were the four you had catalogs on. And it used to be COD, cash on delivery. And they did that for like a decade. And then it was you had to pay for it before it came, which my parents didn't like because you didn't see it. And they didn't have a problem with cash on delivery because they could see what they had bought. But they had to kind of go with that because they had two teenagers coming up. But no, it was not easy to get clothes when I was growing up. There just were no outlet centers. There were none of that. But now your friends who had money and well, their parents had money, they went downtown. Suddenly there was a mall. They put a mall. It was in walking distance, but we had a friend who drove. My mother made me and my sister promise we would not go to the mall. She feared it. She thought it was something that we'd get hurt or kidnapped. I don't know. We were 15 and 13, I think, at the time. So we cut school, which I did not usually do, but I wanted to see this and I've been saving up money for it. So off we go to the mall. Heidi's the driver. She's also this chief bandit. We're all in ponchos, by the way. That was the thing. You wore ponchos. So, and we're in knitted ponchos, kind of closely knitted. And I love those things. And it was very cold. And those things to keep you warm. But suddenly, we all had to put our hands in the air. I think we were at Sears or something. We had to put our hands in the air because they said we were stealing stuff. And I'm like, huh? And, so you're going to march through all the customers. You're just trying to die. And you're trying to figure out how you're going to explain this to the parents because you know that now they're going to find out you were at the flipping mall and not at school. Like I said, it was not something I usually did. I had straight A's, 4.0s, graduated twice, college, and then the army. So I had a set thing that I was doing. I was freaking the fuck out because I thought for sure I'd have a record. I had done nothing wrong. I didn't have no idea that Heidi was stuffing albums and shit. She had like $30 worth of shit. Now, $30 worth of shit was a lot back then. It was a lot. Now it's like a loaf of bread. But back in my day, I mean, she had like 3 or 4 albums. We had albums. You still had those. You had the vinyl. So yeah, and they chirped. All of us had to take ponchos off. That it was not good. The police are checking you out, and a little handsy at that. In 13, 15, whatever. I'm like, I'm taking it, but I don't want you touching my sister like that, which I told them. And they just kind of patted down a little bit on our pants from the knee down and her arms. Because I'm looking at him like, I'm going to fuck you up. She's 13. She don't got nothing. Really, just realize. And we had both taken our ponchos off and stuff, gave him our purses. We didn't have nothing. Um, she did. So they called the parents. We thought, okay, now we've proved we've not done anything wrong. They called the parents because she had, and she was supposed to drive us back. So her mother was freaked the fuck out. And she's like, you get home, you no longer have keys, kind of thing. Asking if she had to come get her out of jail. And that's what it felt like at jail. They had this place down there, little cells. This the mall, man. Must have been going on a while because that was what it was. And I'm like, why do you have to call my parents? We haven't done a damn thing because you got to drive back with her or we're going to take you out here and take the L. And the L was the train. And I said, don't you worry about what we're going to do. I have freedom of everything. I'm not having you do shit to me. I ain't guilty of fuck. Get the abuse step. I mean, like I'm responsible for my sister and my son. I get myself home. I do not need you. Well, that's just the way I got you the way it is. I was a big, I guess bully would be a good term. I didn't like taking any shit from anybody. And finally, I kind of caved and said, look, I'll call my parents. And I knew my dad was asleep because he worked nights. And I knew mom wouldn't kill us, but I didn't know if she'd give us away or not. And instead, I decided to call my sister-in-law, who was at my house with mom right after the call. She was sitting there when we walked down and we're like, oh, we're fucked. She done told mom. They were tight. But 15, 13, you're going to do stuff like that. It's a new mall. Everybody's been there. They're all talking about it. You want to see it. And we knew our parents were going to take us. They was already, we're not going. And Denise, whose dad used to be pretty cool and whose basement we all hung around in, he said he wouldn't do it. And my fiance had just gotten his GTO. And he wouldn't do it because his mother said she'd take his car if he went somewhere he wasn't supposed to. Because she said she'd find out, and they would. Back then, the parents, they were told. The parents were called, and it was up. You're like, oh, okay, I'm busted. That's the only thing I ever did in my life, other than I was engaged. And it was cute. We broke off. He was already active duty Army, and then I had enlisted at a young age. And he didn't like that. He wanted his women at home with babies. And not needing to work because he was the worker, and that's not how I felt. I felt women should be doing the same thing the men should, and they should get the same money. And it's time to open these doors. And thank God, like I said, I see the women fighter pilots, and I just sit there watching them over and over. I'm like, that is so awesome. It really is. Y'all don't know how much the world has changed. But there are those of us, we hippies, we straddle 2 centuries, the 20th and the 21st. And both are awesome because we're right there at the end of the 20th century, but really 40 years of it. And now we've got 26 years into the 21st century. And the difference is absolutely phenomenal. At the same time, I keep saying, I think some biblical things are happening. Bunches of volcanoes, bunches of earthquakes. Like I said, I'd been through, luckily, not lately. That's I call my courage. Because people ask me, how do you get up there and talk to people? And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm going to keep trying. Had a bigger audience, and then I was off for a year. Had to change channels. Couldn't get it to go through the equipment right somehow. So I just invented a second channel. I haven't had the time to actually grab all that and try to put it on this channel. So I just, guys, this Wicked Lady Hippie at the Bar, you can see it the first year. And you can see I'm just here comes my cat back out. Daddy went upstairs to his cave, the man cave, and instant my Fluffy, I call him Fancy or Fluffy. Fancy is what he answers to. And he's very big and he's very hairy. He's now come out because he knows there's nobody at the door. Dad's got it wherever he needs it. I mean, and I had two, what I call my bookends. I ended up with 4 black cats. They were the first we adopted. The mom had come with us. One had died. And I've still got 3 out of the 6. It was the mom and Dad had 4 babies. We didn't know at the time we had all of them. But I call two of my bookings the two men, two males, and they are actually have come out. These guys go to ground. We have another one named Penny. We have the painted ones, black and white, and they're called painted. And they're funny. I've got two of them. One I named Fast Walker because when he was a baby, we had to feed them and bring them up. He would run almost. It was fast walk, and then he would stop and look around, and then he'd fast walk somewhere. And I had heard Bob Lazar say about the machines at Area 51, the UFOs, that he called one or they called one fast walker because it could go fast, but only apparently for a period. So it was where I got that from. And it was interesting to see the veterans expression. Not the veteran, I'm sorry, veterinarian. And we're on a second one now, so it's not like a given that you get to keep the same doctor even for your animals. And they are something when they go, they know, they know that they're going. They're in the carrier, and they know they're not gonna, on a trip. They're going in to see the doctor. They are freaked out. It's you can't believe how hard it is to get them in the carrier. They're not. They have. We have no part of that. And if yeah, all 4 feet get them. So you got to pry them off, chunk them in, hold their head while you're sipping it up. So that's fun for retired people. We live in a cul-de-sac, and a lot of them we couldn't take any more of watching them starving and be flea ridden and thirsty and scared. And so we, over the years, have made it a sanctuary. And if we do go to live on my son's property, then I don't know how I would take care of the ones outside. And that bothers me a lot. I know the neighbors wouldn't do it. Even if we paid for it, they wouldn't do it. They'd say they were going to, but they wouldn't. People are like that. So we're both going, well, we have to catch them. So you get to catch and release cage. Maybe if you're lucky, you put steak in it and one or two will come in. The problem with that is they're not going to get tricked a second time. They're not going to go in there. They don't care how hungry they are. They're not going to get in that cage. The others will see them. So we're trying to figure out how we can get them with that type of cage so we can release it in, the yard over if we do move. But the others, so we're trying to figure out how to be sneaky, how many, I call them snares, how many we need. And there's a lot. But each year they have babies, different ones. Suddenly they all disappear. We don't know where they go. This is a kill shelter. It's the only thing they have here and in Augusta. So we can't take them there. If the woman, or I'm sorry, the female cat is pregnant, they kill them immediately. And so we just keep feeding them and giving them water and warm and dry places to stay. Uh, right now, underneath the RV is the place it's the shadiest, but there's also a tent. So if it's storming, and there's two tents, and they can go in either one, and they do. And we have spots where we put pillows and things that smell like us, blankets and stuff down, because that's their home. Otherwise, you can leave that thing there, but they're laying out plastic and water's coming in. So my husband built floors in, and so yeah, we have a lot of effort invested in that. So we're trying to figure out, like I said, how we're going to deal with that. But we will. We'll figure that out. If anyone is interested in helping us out with that, please put it in the comments. You can live chat now. See, I'm almost done. My husband's wanting me to get off, and I just hurt my thumb. So my courage here, let's do this. Is nearly empty as well. And so I bid you adieu, and I'll see you Wednesday. I hope. If you see me, even if you don't like it, at least hit the don't like. Give me a break. I'm an old woman. I do not make any money doing this. I am not averse to making money doing this. I just don't. I didn't even get to talk about what's going on in the world today, but I think you all already know. As long as you're not on legacy media, you won't be too confused. If you're on legacy media, well, I'm sorry for you. I like Sky News. I like the Christian Broadcast Network, not because I'm a Christian, but because it's news. It's actual news. CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, none of this news. It's all political. That's what they've been for 30 years. I don't even know why people hadn't caught on. Been 30 years that I refused to watch it. It was, Fox back in the day. I would watch Fox, and I grew to where I didn't like them either. So good luck with that. Y'all come see me. Get up there, put in comments. I mean, we hippies need to go back to sitting around, have a drink, talk. We're all retired now. I can remember when we used to say, well, we ain't letting the man get to us. Well, the man got to us and just jacked our shit completely for 40 years. Yeah, that's why the parents were laughing. So I got to go time. Again, I'll be up on Monday, probably between 12 and 4 if I can get in. Oh, there we go. I think you can still see me on camera, but they're trying